Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into GARP's challenge Eneru with all of the color teams to clear the Chopper Man missions, or the GARP's challenge missions, I should say, over in the Chopper Man mission tab. So, with the update of 14.1 comes the refresh of the GARP's challenge. You can clear all of these quests and get up to 100 rainbow gems by clearing all of the 10-star and the 11-star events with all color-based teams. So in today's video, as I mentioned, we're going to dive in with the Strength, DEX, Quick, PSY, and INT Team. And hopefully it helps you guys out with clearing this content. Now, I did put together a how-to video in 2023. I'll leave a link to that in the description for you guys. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how I sort of team build when it comes to this content. Hopefully it helps you guys with substitutes or replacements or other units that might work very, very nicely for this particular fight. But if you enjoyed the video, bell the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, do all that good stuff for me. It helps me out a great deal. And hopefully, this particular video helps you out. With that said, let's dive into GARP's challenge Eneru. So starting off with Strength, we're going to slap that Strength filter on. And when it comes to these 10-star events, there's no real normal attacks only. So the first character I think of is Kaido. Kaido's end-turn damage, his increased damage taken, the burn, all that fun stuff does a lot of damage, and it can make this content very easy. As for Kaido's EX, though, you do want to bring two characters that can actually trigger that, and the lead performers, starting with Wano Orbs, all that fun stuff, is a very, very good free-to-play character to use underneath Rush Kaido. They were kind of built for Rush Kaido. As for this particular piece of content, there is one mechanic that was introduced, or two actually, being Fear and Stun. Now, if you guys are struggling with the stun, you can utilize this particular pudding on any Sanji or Reiji of the color that you're trying to complete. You're going to take a 20% HP cut when you enter the final stage, and that way you just get around the stun on your captain. So if you are struggling with some characters you see today, for the stun mechanic, you can just utilize that pudding. For my team here, we're going to use Ace and Marco. Ace and Marco cut your HP by 91%. They're basically going to be the unit that helps us get around that stun mechanic. As for the final stage, there is some special bind, which is very annoying. But the thing with the special bind is there is Fear as well. Now, Fear was a bit of a new mechanic. If you're a newer player, it's very hard to get around it with limit break abilities. But what you can actually do is just bring a character like Nami and Usopp, who can just remove it with their switch ability, and then you can just use their special. So that's going to work a little bit nicer for you guys. As for the final character, I'm going to slap on Orochi on this team just because I need a unit that is going to trigger the Kaido EX. Orochi also removes bind, but like at the end of the day, you don't really need the bind removal. Just bring anyone like Ulti or Who's Who or anyone at all that is going to trigger that EX of Kaido. The guy to bring. The laws of OPTC always state when thus can bring Kaido, thus shall bring Kaido. So on turn 1, we just want to kill that strength unit. So just tap with one of your units, let the end of turn damage do all of the heavy lifting for you. You're not only going to let it do all the heavy lifting here, but we're also going to use it on turn 2, and that way we can use that. We can just get around it nice and easily. So beautiful stuff. You do get binded and special binded on 3 random sailors. So unfortunately, just tap with whatever sailor doesn't get special binded or binded. Probably tap on the quick unit because the end of turn damage, it is strength based. So it does get reduced with damage reduction from quick characters. On to turn 3, there is a barrier here. And you also get burned. But once you break the barrier, you should be able to... I have to tap with an extra unit. Once you break the barrier, the end of turn damage is going to do the rest. If you tap with Kaido as well, you do apply burn. So even if you don't break the barrier, or you just break the barrier, the burn and stuff is going to do absolute bits. On to the next stage, you actually take damage, so you get increased damage taken applied. This means you do so much damage with your end of turn. Like, if they do damage to you on entry, like, your end of turn damage is just going to win the stage for you. On to the next fight. This is where the threshold is, and there is special reverse. Stereotypically, if you're using end of turn damage, don't have to worry about this, purely because if you just tap with the Kaido that has the Wano Orb, and apply the burn, the end of turn damage is just going to do the rest for you. Like, the threshold's only on one character, so the other guy is just going to melt. It's crazy. On to Gidatsu and Om. This is where if you've used your Wano Orbs, you can use the EX. Utilizing the EX is going to apply increased damage taken. And remember, you only need one. Like, you can save the other one for the final stage. And then if you tap with one of those Kaidos, you apply the burn, and then you literally just kill. Like, it's free damage. Free damage, baby. On the final stage against Enel, he turns to the opposite color to your captain, stuns your captains, and then applies the special bind and the fear. Plus, you get hit with red hockey too, which is a little bit annoying. So, this is where the switch of Nami and Usopp is very, very good. Because you just have to switch with them. It gets around the special line. You don't have to worry about any fancy fear mechanic bullshit. Just literally do that. Then we're going to use Ace. Like I said, if you guys are missing Marco and Ace, you have the option of any Reiju, any Sanji with that pudding support that I showed you guys. As for the rest of the fight, like, you have an attack boost now. Like, you have, like, all buff, increased damage taken. It's just like a single tap and you're good to go. So there you guys go. That is strength against Enel. Very, very easy stuff when it comes to Kaido. So as you guys might have noticed, there was a lot of bind and special bind. So moving on to Dex now, and something you guys can do with strength as well is actually run Ace Yamato. Ace Yamato is going to get around all the bind, all the special bind. You don't have to worry about the fear on the final stage, and you're basically just covered. You are still going to get slapped with stun though, so you do want to bring a character to get around that. But for our end of turn damage, we're actually just going to use V1 Kaido. You can run him as a sub and still get the effectiveness out of his end of turn damage. It's not going to be the same as what you guys saw with that last Kaido run, but look, you can still do some pretty fun stuff there as well. If you want to bring a friend Whitebeard as well, this guy here, you can get some extra end of turn damage, and that's something that we actually might look at doing, just because it just makes life so much easier. So if you have him, he's going to help out a great deal as well. As for other units on the team, we do want to bring someone to get around that stun. There is a Sanji and Nami character, this character right here. Off the top of my head, these are probably one of the only characters that can get around the stun mechanic. Plus, if you're more of a newer player, you actually have this Arlong as well. I believe this Arlong from PKA. He can actually get around stun as well, because he cuts your HP, and he's immune to stun there as well. There's also like a Whitebeard. There's a strength Whitebeard, that 5+ Whitebeard too, if you want to run that on the strength team. So for this team, I'm going to use Sanji and Nami, because look, Sanji and Nami, they get around stun. But again, if you just bring any Sanji, any Vinsmoke, Reiju, you can use that pudding support as well. So that works out quite nicely. As for other characters, we kind of want to bring Free Spirits and Strikers, because that's what our captain does buff. We don't have to worry about bind. We don't have to worry about special rewinds. I guess at the end of the day, we can just bring characters that do good things. And we'll just bring Luffy, and we'll just bring Whitebeard there, because as I mentioned, we'll probably try and bring that Whitebeard as a friend captain as well. Alright, so that's the plan. If you guys don't have Ace Yamato and you have Whitebeard, you can just run Whitebeard and then bring a friend Ace Yamato. That's definitely going to work in your favor. But remember, end of turn damage reigns supreme, and utility captains are always going to be very, very helpful when it comes to running this content. If there's any characters you guys see in today's video that you don't have, you're looking for some other options, make sure to check out that 2023 video that is linked in the description for you guys for some alternate options. Again, we have end of turn damage now with this team, plus we have a burn mechanic as well, so you can swap every turn and apply burn, so you kind of have like a very budget Rush Kaido team going on here for Dex, but at the end of the day, having the utility from Ace Yamato works out very, very nicely too. So on turn 2, we're going to use the Kaido special. Kaido is going to now apply some end of turn damage, and we should be able to be pretty hunky-dory here with not only Kaido, but with Whitebeard as well. Nice. Makes life very, very easy. Plus, you get the HP cuts on entry every single turn. It's really, really good stuff. On this turn, we have Burn and we have the Barrier. Once we get around the Barrier, we're in pretty good stead. Remember, you do just have to hit Greats, so just make sure you either bring a ship that doesn't make it easy to hit Perfects, or be very good at hitting your Greats. One of the two, like whatever works for you. Beautiful stuff. Kaido and Whitebeard together go very, very hard. Now, unfortunately, it is all Dex damage. If you guys are probably noticing, we are dealing Dex damage. So on this turn, we can't really rely on that amount of damage. So we're just gonna bink one of our Whitebeard specials here. That's gonna give us an orb buff, and then we're just gonna put some pot shots into the okay, we're gonna kill the units, and then let the end of turn damage do its thing. Remember, if you have a quick enemy, like you're gonna do good damage there. Plus, remember, if you're switching with Ace Yamato every turn as well, you are applying burn, provided the enemy doesn't have increased damage taken themselves. Or sorry, full immunity, I should say. On this turn, we're gonna use the Ace Yamato special. That's just gonna do a good chunk of damage. Plus, they give cooldowns as well. So with that, the end of turn damage should do the rest for you. I don't imagine that it won't. Very, very nice stuff. And then we move on to the next stage with Giratsu and Om. They are going to apply the bind, which we don't have to worry about, which is great. Downside here that I'm actually looking at now is I'm actually going to move into the final stage with a strength character. Now, if you guys have been listening, the enemy does turn its the opposite color to what you are. So you have to be very careful with that. Ideally, you probably just want to like do some better switches than what you guys saw in the video, because you ideally want to end as a quick unit. That's the downside to bringing dual units as your captains, man. When it comes to these particular fights, just be very, very mindful of that. Kaido's going to lose his what's it called? Kaido's going to lose his end of turn damage here as well, which kind of sucks. We're going to apply a orb buff thanks to Luffy. We're going to remove the stun with the Nami and Sanji, and then we can apply an attack boost with Whitebeard. With this, I think just literally because we do have one strength unit, we're going to be okay. But like, just be mindful of that when you're doing your switches. Just be mindful that your captain is going to trigger the different color. Moving on to Quick now. Quick doesn't really have like that many characters that have end of turn damage. What they do have though is Shanks Crew. Shanks Crew is not only great with end of turn damage when using special, but you can also remove special bind, which is very, very nice. Other units, or other things that we're going to need here is we are going to need some stun removal. Again, as I mentioned, if you don't have a unit that can get around it, you can just bring any Sanji with that Rage of support, and I think that's probably what we're going to do in today's video. Just for the sake of the video, I'm going to throw on this Luffy as well. Do you actually, what are your captain ability remove? This particular Luffy obviously is new to the One Piece anniversary, or One Piece Day anniversary. But I just really want to use him. Like, if I'm being full quid with you guys, I just really want to slap him on my team. Don't stress though, if you don't have him, just bring any other Luffy. Like, if I'm being honest. As for other things that we're going to need to get around, there is bind. We don't have to worry about that. Special bind, we're not really phased about. The special reverse and stuff, as long as we use our Shanks special at the right time, we're going to be pretty much covered there. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to bring some other characters that can give us any type of buff. So maybe throw on something like a Kainu. A Kainu can do some fun stuff with burn mechanic. Any other characters that can do end of turn damage would be very, very nice. Or bringing a character that can also trigger the super tandem of Zoro Sanji. You could do some fun stuff that way as well. So it's up to you guys how you want to do it. There's not really any right or any wrong answer. Maybe you want to bring some bind removal, I guess, because there is going to be that very annoying bind shenaniganry, not only on turn 2, but on turn 6, I think it is. Is it turn 6? It might be turn 6. We'll bring on this Uta. She's a free play character, why not? And then, I don't know, what else can we bring? Let's just bring other end of turn damage. See, like, the options aren't very big here. Like, we don't have that many good units that we can actually run very comfortably. Look, we'll do this. We'll actually do this, and then we'll see how that goes. Don't forget to use that pudding support, though, if you are running any Sanji or Reiju. Very important that you actually make sure you use that, otherwise you're not going to be able to get around the stun, because remember, the stun is probably the most annoying part of this content. You also have to do a special bind and the fear, but, like, if you bring a captain that can get around that, like Shanks Crew can, you're going to be in for a really, really easy and fun time. So on turn 1 with this team, we're basically just going to take out the quick unit, and we can move on to turn 2. Now, we do have a bunch of bind and special bind that does get inflicted here, but the plan here is to switch with one of the Shanks Crews, use a Shanks Crew special, and with that, the end of turn damage should take out these particular units. Now remember, Shanks Crew's damage is built up on how many perfects you actually hit. So just be very mindful of that. We're going to start here. My Uta didn't get... oh, look, it's just so much damage here. It's so much damage. My Uta didn't get special bind... binded, so you could actually use her special there too. That's something else that you could do that's very, very fun. Now, on the next turn, I'm going to switch with Shanks Crew. Shanks Crew can get an attack boost every single turn. You can also do some fun stuff with... what's his name? With Zoro Sanji. That's also going to work. I have no idea what the Perisperra does or where the increased damage taken comes from. But unfortunately, we aren't going to see it. So breaking through the barrier with the greats is very, very easy to do so. We do have a big ore block, which is kind of fun. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty nice. And let's have a look here what else we can do. Now, the next turn is the one that has the special reverse. It also has the threshold. So if we switch with the 2 characters... Do we want to use the other shank screw special here? I believe we do want to use the other shank screw special here. Because again, we get special reverse on the next turn, so we can't use it. But as long as we have it here, we should be able to kill fairly easily and fairly nicely. Remember, when you are doing your perfects, you are going to be doing the end of turn damage. So if you don't do as much damage as you are seeing in today's video, don't stress. You're still going to hit very, very hard. There's the special reverse. Now we have end of turn damage with one of our shanks. What does Luffy's verse ability do? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's just hit some perfects. You can also get an ore buff with Sanji as well. Just be mindful of that too. Or Zoro Sanji. Whether or not you're using Zoro Sanji is up to you guys. Like, Zoro Sanji is just a fantastic unit. But you just basically want to have that pudding support. That's the main goal. We're going to use the Uta special here. That's going to get around the bind. Remember, you want to make sure you enter the final stage as the quick variation. So that way you get the... What's his name? Enel turning in to a strength character. Very, very important that you guys do that. Otherwise, you're not going to have type advantage. Not that it matters all that much, but it can be a little bit annoying. Now, to get around the stun, that pudding support is going to trigger. It works absolutely amazingly, so if you guys do have it, it only has to be level 1 as well. You don't have to have it like crazy high level, but it definitely is a very, very nice support. Zoro Sanji, they can increase attack and ore boost. You can use the Luffy special here. If you guys are using Red Rock Luffy, go for it. But look, you have the action special. We're going to see that new field mechanic. As you can see, like, free spirit characters are getting a nice buff for 3 turns. It's just like this weird territory thing that happens now. We can use Zoro Sanji here, and free spirit characters are going to hit harder. So let's do that. Okay, let's do that. Nice. Beautiful stuff. So that's quick. Honestly, it's not as like fluent as some of the other colors because of the end of turn damage stuff, but it still works fairly well. On to Sai now. You could probably run Shanks Crew once again, but just to make life very, very easy, we're actually just going to throw on Gear 5, 6+, or 6-star. Doesn't matter which one you have, just run one as captain, the other as a friend captain, or you can just run 2 6-stars and call it a day. You are going to want to get around Stun, you are going to want to get around Special Bind. They're pretty much the 2 big things if you are running Gear 5 as a captain. So as long as you bring any Sanji unit, as I mentioned, you have this particular Sanji character that can remove stun. You have any Sanji that can use the pudding support. That's going to work very, very nicely as well. And basically, potato, it's all going to work out super hunky-dory. You do want to bring someone that has special bind removal. That's pretty much going to be the most annoying thing here. Again, if you are struggling, just run Gear 5 with a friend captain Shanks crew or vice versa. That's going to work super, super nicely. For myself, I don't really know what I'm going to do here, actually. Let's have a look at what's... you do get hit with red Haki as well. Just be mindful of that. So, I'm actually going to bring this Uta. Don't actually know if that's going to work. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. This Uta, she can get around Special Bind. Plus, she, if you lose it, she's going to apply a buff for you. So, that should actually work in our favor there. But, that's going to be the team. Let's see how it rocks. Alright, so I'm going to use double Gear 5 just to make like life a little bit easier. Like, it's really not that hard to find 6+ friend captains, though. Like, you could easily just find them. Just scroll on down. It should work very, very nicely. Probably, honestly, using the 6+ as a friend captain is going to work a little bit better. You don't really need 2 6+ Luffys, but look, at the end of the day, if you can't find one, you can't find one. If you're struggling with Special Bind, as I mentioned, you do have Shanks crew at your disposal, like you guys saw with the quick fights. Special Bind and the Fear is very annoying for this fight. Not only is the stun, but Enel honestly seems to be one of the most annoying of these 10-star GARP challenges because of the very finicky abilities that he does actually have that you have to actually deal with. So, on turn... Oh, that's another thing that Sanji and... what's his name? Sanji and Nami take care of. It's actually the special line, so that's super interesting. I didn't even register that. So that's pretty fun. I'm going to use the Law special here. Purely because Law does have an ability where he gets cooldowns. Whichever character doesn't get like special minded there, whether it's Law, Momo, you could just bink Luffy actually, like the friend captain Luffy. That's going to work absolutely fine too. You just want enough damage to just blast your way through turn 2. It works nicely. The end of turn damage from Law is actually pretty cool, but I do understand that you might actually get special minded there as well. I totally forgot to just go into the Gear 5 form. If you go into the Gear 5 variation, you're basically just going to bypass that barrier. It makes that stage super, super easy. Like, super easy. But we're going to do that now because I totally forgot to do it on the previous turn. And then we can use the EX of our Luffy here. That's going to give us increased damage taken. That's going to make this stage very, very simple. Plus, we get a full board of orbs here. Unless you already have a full board of orbs, that also might be a thing. Moving on to the next stage. This is where we have the threshold and the special reverse. We get around the special reverse and we get around the threshold just with our Luffy captain. Works very, very nicely. So let's do that. If you want, you can use a special here to do more damage. Like, if you don't want, you don't have to. Like, it's up to you guys. You have type advantage on one of the fights, so utilizing the Luffy would work fine. The downside here is that, like, you are special binded. So you kind of get to this stage here before the special bind goes away. And then you're kind of, like, stuck in this position of, like, wow, I've been moving really, really quickly and I don't have a chance to use my specials. So just be mindful of that. If you want to, just take an extra turn. And you can remove the... Take an extra turn and you can just remove the special bind and you'll be absolutely fine from there. On the final stage, to get around the stun, we have that Sanji special. Again, if you guys don't have this Sanji, just use the pudding on the Sanji. That's going to remove the stun for you guys. This unit's great because they were pretty much just designed to take down this fight. They remove the stun, they remove the special bind. It works very, very nicely. With that, we are just going to tap with one of our Luffys after using his special. And we say, wham bam, thank you man, goodbye to Enel. So like I said, Sai, if you have like the Gear 5 combination and Nami Sanji, it's probably one of the easiest fights in the game. Finally, we have INT, and look, INT has a tendency to be like one of the most annoying teams to build for when it comes to this particular fight, because there's no one that can really like comfortably get around special bind. There's no like real comfortable unit that can do end of turn damage. However, a unit that we did just get is Yamato, this particular unit right here. And if you want to get real funky with your team building, you can actually bring, is it 6 cerebral characters? No, she doesn't get around special bind. That's one of the things she doesn't get around. Never mind. So she does special reverse. So that's a shame. The big character that I can think of here is Big Mom. This one here that does end of turn damage. She's probably going to be the most effective when it comes to this, but you don't actually need to run her as a captain for that to work. So if you can find another character that can get around special bind with the captain ability, that's going to work very nicely. Off the top of my head, the best one I can think of is Halloween Ace. Halloween Ace has the special bind removal. He has the bind removal as well, just like special reverse removal. He doesn't have bind removal. He has bind removal in special, which is great, but he's going to be your best option. Whether you have him 6+, whether you don't have him 6+, I would highly recommend utilizing him. Then we're going to bring that Big Mom, as I mentioned. We're going to throw her on as a sailor, because you can use her special like we did Kaido, and that's going to work out pretty hunky-dory. As for the rest of the characters on the team, we kind of just want to bring characters that have like big-time buffs. So like Law with his carryover. We do need to bring a character that can get around stun. I believe this Reiju, for example, she can obviously use that pudding support that I spoke about. And then finally, we could just bring like, you can bring Uta, if I'm being completely honest. That could work great, depending if you have a bunch of cerebral characters too, which we actually do. So we might do that. We're going to slap on that pudding support. And we're going to be off to the goddamn races. Alright, so there it is. We have double Halloween Ace using end of turn damage from Big Mom. Now remember, the end of turn damage from Big Mom, it's not going to be a surefire thing. It's not like Kaido with the HP cut first. Well, I think it actually does have a HP cut first. It's not like Rush Kaido, though, with all the damage that he has. And it's not like running like a double strat. Again, you could if you want to, run double Big Mom. Like, in terms of just use one Halloween Ace and then run Big Mom as a friend captain. That way you're getting that sort of double end of turn damage. But I think Big Mom's a little bit different. She doesn't really have it in her captain. She more just has it in her special. So just be mindful of that. Now on turn 2, you can actually use one of the Halloween Ace specials here. If you run 2 of them, of course, because you can get around the bind. Then we can use Big Mom, and that way we can start relying on that end of turn damage. Again, I wouldn't rely on it, but it's still going to be a very, very big chunk of damage, and it's going to clear very nicely. On to the next stage. Remember, your aces have Barrier Pen. Plus, if you brought something like if you brought something like Halloween Law also has Barrier Pen, so you can do some fun stuff there. And while you're still breaking the barrier, you can do some actual damage there too. So as you can see, Big Mom did kill. That was after a HP cut that she does as well. So there's some pretty nice stuff there. On to the next turn. This is where I'm actually going to use my Uta special. I did bring Reiju and Law, who are cerebral-based characters. Halloween Ace definitely isn't. But the upside to using Uta here is Uta actually gives us some very nice damage to cerebrals and strikers. The thing about Big Mom as well, she's actually a striker-based character. So you actually got 4 units that have an attack boost and an orb boost for 3 turns now, which is great. Plus, when you move on to this stage with the special reverse and the threshold, you actually have a character that, you actually have a buff to get through the threshold. Plus, you can do some fun stuff there. So let's do that. Let's try and save one of these orbs for that. Beautiful stuff. And then we can move on to the next stage. We get binded on this fight on our bottom row. So, like, honestly, in hindsight, I would have really liked to have used Uta in the bottom, but that's okay because we can use Halloween Ace here to remove the bind. And then we can use Law to get some carryover of orb buffing abilities on the final stage. Remember, Halloween Ace is not hitting hard. That's okay. Oh. You do still have end of turn damage as well. So, like, just be mindful. You don't have to hit all these perfects that you're seeing here. You can definitely save some goddamn orbs because we're getting absolutely railed when it comes to orb rotations. But nowadays, like, captains are so strong. Type advantage is such a strong prevalent factor that you're going to be absolutely fine. Get around the special bind. Pudding takes care of the stun. We can use Reiju here to get ourselves an attack boost. And then with that, we should be absolutely hunky-dory. We have 1 orb, and that's honestly just going to be enough. Beautiful. So, there you guys go. That was actually a lot easier than I first thought in my head. Once I remembered Halloween Ace, I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good unit. But hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it didn't, check out the 2023 variant. Hopefully there's some other characters that might tickle your fancy over there and help you out as well. But most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. Belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on more OPTC content. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.